I'm Kim Wells of the Sutton team, and if you list with our team, Sutton Wells, you get free home staging consultations. We love to use New England's home staging. With us today is Jennifer Colvin of New England Home Staging, and she's going to be answering some of the questions that we see our sellers asking us quite a bit when we go out and get them ready to sell their home. The first question that they usually ask us is, what's home staging?
Well, home staging is really about merchandising your home specifically for the selling process. So we really try to help sellers to understand that they need to understand who their buyer is, and once they figure out who their buyer is, they need to walk through their home with a buyer's eye. And, staging is about creating memory points so that when your buyers are walking through the home and they've toured, 10 or 20 other homes, they remember your home above the others.
Boy, that's true. So many people don't remember the home. They leave it, and then they're, which home was that, Kim? So, very good point. What can a homeowner do on their own?
Well, there's a lot of things that homeowners can do on their own. I would say that the first and foremost is to clean. I mean, they really need to have their home showing in tip-top shape. So all the senses are working when buyers are touring through your home, so making sure that the appliances are clean and that the smells are out of the home, taking advantage of fresh air circulating through the home, anything you can do like that. The other thing they can do is start to sort out their things. So things that they know they're not going to move to their next place, it's time to figure out whether you're purging them or selling them, but either way, get them out of your home. And if there are things that are just very personal to you, things like photographs or collections, those types of things, it's a good opportunity to pack them up and have them ready so that when your house sells, you can quickly move.
So does a homeowner need to spend a lot of money getting the house ready?
Well, having me come through the house for a home staging consultation is typically $200, but obviously, as you mentioned, if you list with the Sutton Wells team, they pay for the consultation, so the great thing there is that you don't have to pay my fee. On top of that, when I come out to a home, the first conversation I have with the seller is, do they have a budget in mind? And their budget may be $20, it may be $500, because they might recognize that they have some projects to do. So once I know their budget, my goal is always first and foremost to work with what they have within the home. But beyond that, I would say on average, $40 to $75 is probably a good dollar amount to have in mind, and that would be for things like to help us to create the memory point. So it might be fresh white towels, a shower curtain, or a gallon of paint to repaint a room. So those are the types of things that I think people should be thinking about.
All right. So where is the money best spent?
Definitely, kind of as I was mentioning, paint. Really, buyers love to go into a home and feel like it's theirs and it's new and fresh. So a fresh coat of paint is a fabulous way of spending your money. And if you can paint it yourself, then you're saving yourself a lot of money. On top of that, I would say lighting fixtures. When you can replace a lighting fixture that's old and dated, it gives a whole new feel to the house. So that, and probably hardware. When you look at kitchens that are really dated, sometimes just putting some new hardware in that you can get for $1.50 a piece at a large chain store is a really good way of updating a place.
And have you noticed that certain colors don't photograph well, or?
Definitely. And, when we go through, we start and walk the path of the buyer during a consultation. So we'll start at the front door, talk about the exterior of the home, then walk all the way through. I'll always bring that up. But before I get there, or afterwards, if people are not sure if their house is going to photograph well, then they really should take pictures of that room. So if they're going to, sometimes buyers will question, or sellers will question whether or not the color is right, and they think that it's a good color. So I'll just recommend taking the photographs at 3 different times of the day, downloading it to their computer, and usually they'll see what we see, which is that neutral colors are always best.
Okay. Well, Jennifer brought some slideshows for us to look at. We'll zoom in.
So great, so these are some slides. The first one's really about entryways. I mean, you really want your entryway to grab your buyer when they're coming through. So the seller here just really made sure that it was reminiscent of the area. This is a Seacoast property. They have a great bench and some lanterns and some coral prints. It doesn't have to always be a traditional entryway. It just has to be something that's really going to give a sense of the space, give a sense of newness. People really want to feel like it's a new property when they walk through. and make sure that your buyers are going to remember the property when they leave. Fireplaces. This is a seller, I'm sorry for saying that, taking it a little bit too far. When you think about selling your home, we talk about decluttering and taking collections off, but really you do need to have a little bit of a memory point. Fireplace surrounds are so important both on the online listing and when buyers are touring through the home. So by adding back some candlesticks and a great floral and then that fireplace screen, it's a great way to capture or kind of make an emotional connection with the buyer and not have it completely vacant. The next picture is a kitchen, and whether you have a fabulous kitchen or not quite as great of a kitchen, it's really important to just have all of your appliances tucked away, to try to get some foreground and background for the pictures. So in this picture you can see we added something on the counter area in the front and then also in the back so that your buyer's eyes will be drawn through. And then there's a close-up of kind of just how you can create a memory point with a simple cookbook, a bottle of wine, a plant. It doesn't have to be a lot, it doesn't have to be expensive, just enough to have some visual interest. This is place settings. I mean, they're so simple. It reminds your buyer of a model home. You can do anything from, like the top where we created a memory point in the summertime. So we had some fun lemonade bottles that you can get at Home Goods, some faux ice in the glasses, an artichoke and a lemon. It's just a fun way of creating a memory point. On the bottom, we did it with a champagne bottle and some fun napkins and, apples in the background. It's adding color and visual interest. Bathrooms, they're really such an inexpensive thing to stage, and yet they are so important to buyers when they're touring through a home. So in the before and after picture at the top, it was just adding a great shower curtain, something organic and natural, adding some fresh white towels. That's a great investment, just buying some white towels, and then grabbing some spa products that are probably underneath your sink anyways, and putting them out with the towels. There's a few close-ups. The one on the right-hand side is a great example of where you really utilize what you have in the home. So that's just a tray that was in the home, actually down in the kitchen. We pulled it up, put a big pillar candle on it, some spa products from underneath, and a towel and a bar of soap. So it's things that people have, but it's using those to create those memory points in bathrooms. This is a great example of a home that I went into, and there you can clearly see that their dinette set was a little bit dated. So I simply recommended that if they had the money, and they did say they had a little bit of a budget, that they replace the chairs. We could keep the table and work with that. So she actually got these from Walmart. They were very inexpensive, but make a huge difference when you're looking at the home. And then, again, just worked with some, some place settings, adding some fun visual interest in the middle of the table, but it really makes a difference when it's photographed in the end. I always say stage everywhere. I'm all about, how you can create memory points no matter where you are in a home, and this is just a laundry room. And why not let your buyer think that you're so neat that you even fold your laundry and have your fresh linens, with the linen spray on top of it. It's just a fun way to add some memory points in the pictures and then when they're going through the house. This is a great example of when we were talking about paint being probably the best way to add some value into your home for the least amount of money. They really just bought 1 gallon of paint. I went in, and that's the home that I saw on the top. I suggested that they paint the paneling. A lot of people get nervous about that, but it makes a huge difference. It really updates the house very quickly. I suggested that they add a mirror or something large above the couch, and then on the coffee table, I just suggested that they find some tabletop books, and a candle. They did it all on their own. I never went back. I actually just got this off of their online listing, but it really shows quite differently. Fresh pillows is a great way of updating the space. All we did here is try to draw the outside in a little bit by replacing those lamps and putting a floral behind it or a nice plant behind it. Put some candlesticks up there, but just some great fresh pillows. It lightens up the space. It looks so much nicer. And then something fresh and new on the table. A lot of people have the same traditional things they've had on the table for the past 10 years. So be a little creative, look around, and if I'm doing a consultation with you, I'll help you to look through your cabinets. This is that same house, and what was most important here, I think, is that artwork. Artwork's very personal to people, and some people have moved from one location to the next. This one was really too I call it the Floridian style. It just didn't match where the home is. It's a New England home, and I don't think that your buyers are going to relate to that. So we took that down. I had her add some pictures to the space, put a basket with some fun pillows around the fireplace to warm it up a little bit. It's a game table there now instead, so it shows how to utilize that space. A lot of, your sellers, when they're thinking about staging their home, are keeping all of their furniture in the same location, and quite often you have things in other rooms that we can move and really help people to understand how to use the space. And this was a property that was furnished everywhere except for the main room that you entered into. And it's really tough for your buyers to figure out how to use the space. I think the feedback that they were getting was that it felt like a dance floor. So we, again, went into another room, grabbed some sofas from that room. We actually shifted a lot of sofas around in this house. But we just found furniture from other places in their home, and it really made a difference when you're showing them.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. We look forward to working with you, whether you're buying or selling, and tune in again to the Sutton and Wells TV.